Now we've seen how if and else works. Now let us see how we can use multiple if and else as the case demands. Now in case there are a number of checks that we need to put in, then a single if cannot suffice. So we need a number of ifs to check multiple conditions, and accordingly we need multiple if and else. So let's see how we could use this in a program. So in case we need to find the grade of a student according to the marks he obtains, so let's see how we could code that. Let's take a variable called marks and initialize with some initial value and a grade with some blank grade initially. Or we can give some initial grade, say E. Now we see if marks are greater than 90, grade is A. But what if the marks are not greater than 90? We can make a check. Now further, if this is greater than 50, and finally we can say if nothing else, then the grade is D. So something like this we can code for getting a grade of a student based on the marks. So you can see the first check starts with if, and the next check with the else and if. There is a space between else and if, and subsequently you could have any number of if and else ifs, and the closing, if you want something to be done when nothing matches, you could put down a else. So in our case, since the marks are 60, this is greater than 50, so we'll get grade to be C. So let's just print what exactly is the grade of the student. So it says the grade of the student is C, which is expected since this is greater than 50, and accordingly we get grade to be C. So you could use multiple if else and any number of else ifs you can apply. Just remember there's a space between else and if, and accordingly you could, if you don't need this final else, you can also leave this else, and accordingly you could use this loop. Now there is another operator that you can use in place of multiple if else, which is a ternary operator. So ternary operator you could use as a substitute for multiple if else. Now this is a single line statement which returns some value. So you need to put down the result of the ternary operator in some variable. Let's say the result goes to grade, and now we need some condition to be evaluated. So we'll say the condition is marks greater than 90. Now if this condition is true, so whatever you write after the question mark is executed, which in this case will be A. So this A will be returned to the grade variable, and in case this condition is false, the code that you write after the colon is executed. So what we need here is that we further need a check whether this is greater than 70. So I'll put down a check marks is greater than 70. Again I'll put down if this is the case, then the grade is B, and this is not the case. Again I need a check which is marks greater than 50, and the grade will be C, and if this is not the condition, then the grade is D. So whatever we did in all this code, we've done through a single line of code through the ternary operator. So it has two parts. One is a question mark and one is a colon. So whatever you need to execute when the condition is true is written after the question mark, and whatever you need to execute when the condition is false is written after the colon. So this is what executes when the condition is false. This is as a whole. So there are multiple ternary operators that we have used in this case, and you could branch these together in a single expression. You could even have more ternary operators in this if the situation demands. So the only thing we need to remember is it starts with the condition, and then you need to put on what to do when the condition is true and what to do when the condition is false, and accordingly you could branch further conditions of ternary operators, and the result that this returns goes to grade. So you need to have the result returned in some variable, and this is important for a ternary operator, that this always returns some result. So you need some variable where you could store that result from the operator, and accordingly you could write a ternary operator. So this is what you could use if you don't wish to write a multiple if else. Use a ternary operator. So let's see if the output comes out to be the same. So exactly same. So in case you feel comfortable using a ternary operator, write down your multiple if else as a ternary operator, and if you feel is more comfortable writing a multiple if else, then you could go ahead with a multiple if else.